Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing something a little bit unusual, but I promise you it is absolutely fascinating. We are going to take the relentless, almost hypnotic structure of a modern toddler music transcript, and we're going to dissect it, literally treat it like a serious piece of architectural engineering. Now, we know from developmental psychology that repetition is the ultimate learning tool for toddlers. Hearing the same patterns over and over, that's what helps them grasp language mechanics. It builds those crucial neural pathways, and honestly, it gives them a sense of safe predictability in what is otherwise a pretty chaotic world. But what happens when you feed those vital educational principles into an endless automated content loop? Well, you know what happens. It becomes a data set, a really wild, unpredictable data set.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our very first raw data point from the source text we're analyzing today. The baby on the train goes wah, 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 right? On its face, it sounds completely chaotic, just broken text. But as you'll see, this transcript, pulled from a seemingly endless children's loop, isn't just random noise. It's actually a mechanical output, and it's displaying clear signs of algorithmic generation, structural mutation, and eventually, total system breakdown.
So the fundamental question driving our explainer today is this. How in the world do you stretch 6 simple classic children's songs into an endless loop of content? The absolutely crucial point here is that we can't just treat this text as a normal nursery rhyme. To really understand what's happening, we have to view it as a highly structured algorithm of repetition. It's essentially an engine designed to hijack a toddler's attention by utilizing the exact educational loops their developing brains crave, but deployed on an industrial scale.
Section 1. Identifying the core setlist.
Before an algorithm can iterate and mutate, it obviously needs a base code, right? Well, there are 6 foundational themes serving as the absolute bedrock of this transcript. We've got Wheels on the Train, which occasionally morphs into the bus, Baby Shark, 5 Little Monkeys, Bingo, Finger Family, and Choo Choo Train. Think of this list as the core chassis. All the chaotic, repetitive data is bolted directly onto it. Because repetition gives toddlers that essential sense of security and mastery over their environment, this setlist provides a really comfortable, instantly recognizable framework for the young viewer, right before the algorithm starts playing with the variables.
And right at the center of that framework is a very specific integer, the number 5. This numerical countdown is the core driving both the Little Monkeys and Finger Family segments. For a toddler's developing brain, counting down from 5 to 1 teaches sequencing. It teaches cause and effect. But for the algorithm, the number 5 is simply the ultimate predictable anchor. It provides a strict, reliable loop to run in a text that, quite frankly, desperately struggles to maintain order.
Section 2. The substitution algorithm.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how once the base code is established, the text begins to operate essentially like a giant game of Mad Libs. It runs on a super strict substitution protocol. The algorithm possesses a predefined set of character variables: daddy, mommy, brother, sister, grandma, grandpa, and baby. Notice how these exact same character variables are seamlessly swapped between 2 entirely different narrative environments. You've got the shark environment and the finger environment. For a toddler, this is great. It teaches categorization. The family structure remains rigid, while the noun attached to it is simply swapped out to create fresh, yet cognitively comforting repetition. We actually see this exact same substitution logic applied to the environment itself. Take the classic attributes of a bus, for example. You know, the wipers going swish swish, the signals going blink. But when the base transportation module is swapped from bus to train, those attributes are immediately mutated to fit. The sound goes clickety-clack and flippity-clack. The base song is adapted modular piece by modular piece. It generates way more runtime while utilizing the exact same rhythmic structure.
Section 3. Injecting colors and shapes.
Now, a toddler needs more than just vehicles and family members to stay engaged. They need foundational learning concepts. But here is where the text shifts from predictable substitution to sudden, rapid-fire insertion. Red, blue, white, green, pink, orange, purple, brown, yellow, black. These are not lyrics woven naturally into a song. Within the source transcript, these colors are randomly shouted between verses. They literally act as blunt data injections. The underlying logic seems to be that, hey, since toddlers benefit from identifying colors, the most efficient way to deliver that education is to forcibly wedge the color purple right in the middle of a sentence about a mommy finger, completely regardless of narrative flow.
And the exact same phenomenon occurs with shapes. It completely hijacks the standard elements of the Wheels on the Bus song. Instead of just doors opening and shutting, the word circle is injected. Instead of standard wipers, the text drops the word square. The horn becomes a triangle. At one point, the blinkers are suddenly associated with a pentagon.
The entire narrative logic of a recognizable bus is just abruptly replaced by geometric data points. Section 4. The Vehicle Expansion Pack.
As the algorithm pushes forward, it seems to demand even more complex data to keep the loop going. Let's move to and see how this builds. Suddenly, a highly specific fleet of city infrastructure arrives and completely derails the main bus loop. It happens incredibly fast. Right in the middle of talking about the motor on the bus, the transcript immediately spawns a fire truck, then a garbage truck, followed by a police car, an ambulance, and finally a school bus. It's a sudden, overwhelming influx of emergency and utility vehicles specifically designed to relentlessly trigger the high-interest centers of a toddler's brain without even giving them time to process the last one.
And the result of this rapid injection is this precise block of text. Garbage truck, it cleans the city, so cool. Look, police car, oh, ambulance, quick, quick. Helping people, school bus, time to go to school, let's go. Heat, heat, heat. Just notice the abrupt narrative shift there. We go from a basic song structure to frantic, fragmented observations, culminating in a curious, complete breakdown of the text at the end. Heat, heat, heat. The cognitive load is just way too high, and the system is visibly starting to overload.
Section 5. Countdowns and data degradation. When you force a system to repeat and substitute endlessly like this, eventually the phonetic and narrative boundaries begin to fail. Interestingly, though, not all the data degrades at the same rate. The strict numerical countdown formula of the 5 little monkeys remains mostly stable. We have a consistent loop of jumping on the bed and bumping heads, because it's anchored by that strict, mathematically predictable countdown from 5 to 1 that we talked about earlier. It manages to hold its structural integrity. However, that is definitely not the case for the phonetic data. Look at the phonetic degradation of the bingo sequence over time. This is where real chaos hides in the transcript, and this brilliantly illustrates the breakdown. Loop 1 is completely standard, bingo, but by loop 2 the algorithm glitches, producing engongo. By loop 3 it has deteriorated to nongo, and by loop 4 it's just pigo. For a toddler trying to learn letter recognition through repetition, this is basically a disaster. We are watching the step-by-step breakdown of spelling as the song progresses into strange, unpredictable mutations.
It actually gets to the point where the glitches start colliding with the other data injections we discussed earlier. In one moment, we have the degraded Nongo spelling slamming right into the injected color red, followed by a sudden realization, oops. Think about that. An injected color and a literal system error actually become part of the lyrical dataset itself. It's fascinating to see the algorithm stumble, narrate its own stumble, and just keep rolling.
Ultimately, this degradation leads to moments of pure, unmoored surrealism. During a frantic, glitching sequence of Baby Shark, the text completely abandons its structure to produce this erratic, textual anomaly. Woohoo amazing runaway see you at Lala. The educational framework has vanished entirely. The characters have gone. It's literally just a raw emotional output stringing together nonsense syllables as the loop resets itself.
Which leaves us with this final thought. We know repetition is the absolute key to early childhood learning, right? It builds memory, it builds language, it builds confidence. But looking at the chaotic architecture of this megamix, we really have to ask, when does a structured educational loop stop being a lesson and start becoming an unpredictable algorithm? It's a pretty wild testament to how the predictable frameworks we rely on to teach and comfort can, when automated endlessly for maximum engagement, warp into something entirely unrecognizable. Thank you so much for walking through this wild digital landscape with me today. I really hope you walk away seeing the hidden structures and those crazy glitches behind the content all around us.